All right, so now we're gonna set up a bunch of arrays. So I'll just set them up and I'll go along and I'll just show you guys how, what each of them mean. So first we're gonna do an integer array and we're gonna call it rank. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then we're gonna end the curly bracket, stop it, perfect. So now we have our integer array rank set up. Then we're going to do a string array. String array, and we're going to call this one superheroes. And equals semicolon. And within here, we're going to write a bunch of superhero names. We're going to have Spider-Man. Then we can have Superman. Oops, Superman. Vision. Iron Man, and we can have the Hulk, for example. Okay, perfect. So now we have our string superhero set up. Then we're going to have another string called powers. Oops, it's supposed to be an equal sign. And then we're gonna have a bunch of superpowers. So Spidey sense for Spider-Man. Then we're going to have super everything for Superman. Super everything. Then we're going to have computer powers for Vision. Then we're going to have Iron Man's rich. So we're just gonna have like has a lot of money. And then super strength finally for Hulk. All right, then we're gonna set up a Boolean. So I'm just trying to pack in as many different array types as possible, just so you guys can get used to all of them. So we're gonna have Boolean is human. So basically we're asking, is this superhero human normally, like in its superpower ability? So Spider-Man is like human. Superman is also human. I guess he's alien, but he looks human, so I'm just gonna say yes. Vision, no, he's not a human. Iron Man is a human, and Hulk is not a human because he's in like his super strength form. And I messed up here because instead of writing yes and no, I should have done true and false. That is my bad. True, true, false, true, false. Okay, there we go. Since it's a Boolean, we can only use true and false. And last one we're gonna have another string. And this one's gonna be called human. Yeah, there we go. And this one we can use the yes or no's that we were doing. Okay, yes, yes, no, and then yes, no. No. Okay, perfect. So now these, just like our variables, have all been set up and we just have them up here. And if any of you are curious, sometimes NetBeans has like this auto, like it's a debugger. So it's just giving me like little light bulbs telling me I've never even used these variables. So yeah, I haven't yet since we haven't gone into any actual programming, but I will do that right now. So before we set anything up, the purpose of this entire project is to create a chart using arrays where it tells us superhero names, their ranks, and tells us if they have what their superpowers are they human, and just things like that. So in order to organize this chart, at the very top, I'm going to quickly have a statement saying rank, superhero, powers, and human, question mark. So these are just like all of the different things that we're looking for within our arrays. And then system.out.println, just keep a little space. So I'm not sure if I went over this last workshop, but if you ever write system.out.print or println and don't write anything within the brackets, it's still accepted and it's just gonna be like a blank space that you can use to like organize your code if you'd like. Okay, now we're gonna start activating arrays using the for loops that we were talking about. So we're gonna have for, then we're gonna have int I equals 0. And then we're gonna start with I is less than superheroes dot length. Whoops, it's really bad spelling. Length, and then another one, I plus plus. And we want to figure that out. Okay, I think that's correct. It's just because I haven't written anything within the loop. So let's just do that. So we're going to do system.out.println. Does it stop bugging me? It does not stop bugging me. Superheroes.length. Oh, I forgot the I see. Okay, there we go. All right, so now within here, we're going to print a bunch of our arrays. And one thing that a lot of people get confused about is remember that you don't need a for loop for every single array you're doing. That just gets ridiculously tedious. All you need to have is one of the arrays that you're going to write in here. You have to do the length thing for, but for like the rest of them, it's fine. You can just like directly just write them in here and it shouldn't give you any issues. So for example, I didn't necessarily write rank in here, right? But it's fine because I already have one array set up in the for loop. So it's accepting it. And we're just gonna have rank. And then within the square brackets, we're gonna write I, since that's the variable we're mainly working with like the counting. So we're just gonna set that to the I. Then we're gonna have superheroes I, perfect. Then I'm gonna have powers I. Then we're gonna have is human I. Perfect. Okay, so now we have that set up. So let's just see what it's gonna look like. Superhero run file. Give it a second. There we go. All right, so we have rank, superhero, power is human, and then we have Spider-Man, Spidey sense, and then we have true. But as you guys can see, it's super unorganized right now. Like there aren't spaces in between different variables. And this is not really what you want to be working with when you're writing organized code. So one thing I like to do is I'm just going to quickly, you guys don't have to worry about this for this project because it's going to take a long time if we're dealing with spaces. But I'm just going to change this. And I had this pre-written with the proper amount of spaces. So for example, when we wrote string superheroes, I added spaces before and after some, and then even in like the is human, then our titles are a bit separated. So now hopefully this will be a lot more organized. There we go. So look, we have rank 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, superheroes, powers, and are they human? And it just tells us that too. So you guys don't have to worry about this, but I'm just gonna do it this way to make sure that you guys can like clearly see what we're writing and dealing with. Okay. And just one thing, I always say like you should comment the end of these. I don't do it for loops because it's not really necessary and it doesn't even have a name. Like you'll have multiple for loops usually. So you don't have to, but if you want to, of course, like you can. Now we're gonna have another blank and now we're gonna create a different table right below. And this table, just like the last one, is going to contain rank, superhero, powers, and then human. And instead of using the, sorry, never mind. Let me just like do the, what's wrong here? Oh, quotations. Okay. So now we're going to write another blank statement to separate it from the rest of the code. And now we're going to have another for loop. So for int I is equal to 0, I is less than superheroes dot length, and then I plus plus. Perfect. Okay, now inside of here, we're going to use a Boolean statement to quickly do like a line of code, and I'll explain it after I just quickly type it. So if is human I equals false. And again, we have to have that I there because it's contained within the for loop where the variable we're using is I. So if is human I is equal to false, then within this, we're going to do powers I is equal to none. So it's saying if this person is not human, then we're gonna make it so that they don't have any powers, is basically what we're doing with this. And then again, we're just gonna print out the chart this time with all of the ranks plus superheroes. Oh, whoops, my bad. Superheroes plus powers plus is human I. Okay, perfect. And just one more quick thing to mention. If you guys are ever working in NetBeans, they have a shortcut in organizing your code. So if you press Alt-Shift-F, it automatically cleans everything up, so it's neater. And let's just run this file now. Run file. And again, this one's super messy, but if we quickly look, is human, so Vision is not human, so it gave its superpowers none. And Hulk is also not human, so it gives superpowers none. But just like last time, let's just organize this code so it's easier for everyone to read. Control-C. And again, this is pre-written, so don't really worry about it. It's just for you guys to visualize it nicer. So I added spaces and things like that. So there we go. This is organized as you could get it because like the none statements are sort of weird. But so if we look at the first chart where everything's normal, so superheroes, we have multiple powers, and then are they human? And if we look at the next table, we set if they are not human, they have no powers. So if we look, they're not human here, and then the powers just get switched to none. So yeah, it works perfectly. And these are just two tables. And again, the way we work with arrays, it prints in a vertical list. It's nice and organized, good to like store information in. So yeah, arrays are actually really useful to just have in your repertoire to use later. Yeah, okay. Now we're gonna go back to our presentation, full screen. Okay, so that was our first example of two. And now we're going to continue forward. Okay, so now what we're gonna talk about is methods.